Okay, it's James speaking. If you're a video creator, online course creator, anyway, YouTuber creating any kind of educational material, I've got some really, really bad news for you. AI is stealing your job right now. And the worst part of all of this is that we're actually helping AI do it. You know, we're accessories to the crime at this particular point. Now, what you might be thinking is, okay, well, how can I protect myself? And you might go, well, is there a special prompt I can use? Or is there some brand new tool that I can use to make sure that AI doesn't replace me? And that's not what we really need. What we do need is some ways to insulate ourselves that AI things can't do that make us not replaceable. So what I want to do today is I want to go through 4 or 5 things that you can think about or start doing today that are going to help you and I make sure that we still have value 6 months from now, 12 months from now, 18 months from now, 2 years from now. And it is happening that fast. If you think that it isn't happening that fast, go watch the Consumer Electronics Show's talks that were this last week, first week of January. Again, the one that caught my eye, that kind of scared me and made me excited for the future, was the guy that's the head of OpenAI, Sam Altman, said that 2025 is the year of the AI agent. So you're probably going, what the heck's an AI agent and why should I even worry about it? Well, let's take a quick look and I'll kind of put this in perspective so that you see where we are and where we're going with this AI agent thing. And then we'll figure out how can I make sure that I don't get replaced or I don't get completely stolen from, all of my value, all of my assets removed by some of the AI stuff that we can't stop. It's coming very quickly. It's not as if you can, stop from being stolen from. It's coming for our jobs and online content creators. So let's take a look at how we can kind of fix this. If I go and I take a look at what are the things that are traditional right now, these traditional pieces right here, I'm just moving my mouse, hopefully you can see it. These traditional ones are things like the prompts that you're probably being taught right now. And I've actually helped you with this in some of the previous videos I've done. These are ones where it's like, how do I do a prompt? Or is there a conversational prompt or a role-based prompt? Or is there a special prompt I can use to create a syllabus or a course? All of those ones are ones where we do some text entry and then hopefully we get the answer that we want that comes out to give us some content on it. In the end of last year, specifically in December, Google came out with the multimodal, a live multimodal interaction tool or ability to interface with AI. That's when it can watch our screen, watch a camera picture of us, listen to us live in real time, and give us responses based on what we were doing. It's still an input-output, but it's not text input. It's visual input, auditory input, text, written, transcription, everything that's there. And then currently we're in that kind of space where the multimodal's just coming in. People are going, wow, I can create a video just by talking to AI. It creates the video. It replaces me and it's getting better at doing that. Or, all I can do is basically I just have to talk or upload some of my documents. It'll create a podcast for me. Just replaces me. So we're in that space now where it's kind of iffy as to what's going to happen. The worst part is when agents come along, that's going to change again. And if Sam Altman's right and he's talking about it, yeah, we got agents year 2025. That's when it's going to come into its own. How do we protect ourselves? Well, the AI agent approach is a little bit different because what happens with an AI agent, and again, I'm not an expert on all of this AI stuff. I just look at it from the perspective of what I understand and how it applies to video and online course creators. So from what I see from this, I think what's going to happen, and my inference from what I've been reading and research is that these agents are going to be able to automatically create our courses, our podcasts, our videos. They're going to be doing all of it. We don't have to give a prompt. It's going to be able to create all of that. And some examples that I came up with just quickly, just to put this in perspective, is if an AI agent, it can create all the written steps in a guide. So it would be able to, step 1, step 2, step 3. So it would be able to share processes and automatically create processes or document them. It would automatically be able to do checklists and worksheets, create FAQs, practice exercises, reference guides. Heck, it would even be able to do the beginner, intermediate, and advanced courses, create all of these different formats and variations of the stuff that we were having to prompt for a little while ago. So this kind of stuff is going to happen. What do we actually do, and what's kind of the piece that we have to be careful of? And I think here's the big shift for us as video and content creators. We're going to be, like the end of next year, it's going to be record yourself doing something once. So let that sink in for a second. It's not about having to plan everything. It's like recording what you're already doing. I've kind of talked about capturing your digital exhaust. This is literally it. Just, you're an expert in something, you know how to do something, record yourself while you're doing it. Whether that's physical or verbally, whether hard skill or soft skill, I don't think it really matters. It's just, you're just going to be able to record yourself. You're going to have the agent actually watch and make sure it understands what it is that you're doing while you're doing it in your particular example or recording. And it's going to be able to understand the process. It will have the ability, again, to see the context of what you're doing. And as long as the agent can recognize that, it'll be able to create all the different variations that you need and also all the material that you need. And even personalized learning paths. And what I'm talking about there is, like, again, those beginner, intermediate, and advanced. Or if someone knows step 2, do they go from step 1 to step 3? That will all be done in the background. And the key to this is you record something once, and it's going to be able to create multiple assets for us in the background. And think of it like an admin assistant where we give it instructions, that multimodal one. This one is a teaching assistant. This is the one that if you give it some instructions up front, you can let it go and do what you've already instructed it to do. So that kind of approach, you're probably wondering, well, what does an AI agent need? And an AI agent needs, I've kind of put 4 things together. It needs to know what the rules are that you set up as the person teaching something. So what are the requirements that you want that agent to actually carry out? And the guy from NVIDIA, the head of NVIDIA, was actually talking about in May about having a piece of hardware on your desktop in your office that didn't even need to be connected to the internet, that would have small agents for specific tasks that you could start having running in the background. So, and he said that was going to be available in May for about $3,000 is what it was mentioned in the talk. So core requirements are things like create a FAQ section, or create a video based on this text, or create a podcast, or create a checklist, or create 3 versions. You can have these core requirements that you've set out as a content creator. You have to give it the structure on how you want to do that. How do you teach stuff? What's the methodology that you learn? And you have to give it some branding things, like how do you want to have this come across? What is the style that you need in your particular industry and or that you want to do? And then the technical delivery, like, is it supposed to be text? Is it video? Should it be certification quiz heavy? How does it need to actually be delivered? But if an AI agent has those things, you're in some trouble right now, because those are the things that we've been doing with the prompts for the last 1.5 or 2 years. So these are the things that I want you to kind of think about, that if you buy into this, and if you go, James, man, I don't believe you, I don't think it's going to happen that way, that's cool. These 4 things I'm going to share with you now, I think are still really important, because irrespective of if it happens identically to this or even close to this, I think the 4 things now that I'm going to share with you are still going to be really important. So how do we prepare now? The first thing that I want to do is we'll just kind of talk, and I'm going to go through these as quickly as I can. And I do have details and notes on this. So if you want to, spend some time later on this and playing around with it, just ask me and I'll bring these up to you. And again, all of these are available at trainingsites.io. Go and join. It's a free campus there. And I'll spend as much time as I can talking about this stuff and how you can start building, grow an education business. It's there for you. So here's what we can do in the short term. This is what I'm doing. And there's a secret on the end, and I'm going to share that with you, obviously, at the end. But I think you should keep on creating traditional content. Absolutely. Doesn't mean, because this is coming, doesn't mean stop. We're already doing things like using the AI prompts to create content and organize it and create syllabuses and lesson content, and create thumbnails for our YouTube videos and be able to create graphics and still keep on doing that. And even the new tools like the Google Gemini ones. Don't be afraid to kind of use those and figure out, if I give this text, can I get a video that's out? How does that fit into a course? So I'm not saying stop that. I'm saying continue to do that as much as you can. But here's the but. When you're creating that kind of content, what I think we should do is absolutely record the raw process that we're doing and not be as hung up about only keeping or only doing the official end course content. So the whole process, record the whole process. Anything that you're doing, do the pre and the post stuff that you do. Everything that's involved in actually the actual task that you're doing, record it. So just record it. Make sure that you have that as a digital asset. Also store the files. Have a place where you can keep all of that content. If it's a particular YouTube video, if it's a course about a topic, keep that raw footage, everything that you did to actually build the course that you're still building the kind of old school way with text prompts only. And also document what you're doing. A lot of times now when we create a course, it's like we create the lessons or the content focus, but I want to make sure for myself is that I'm documenting the processes of what I'm doing while I'm actually doing it. And when I say document, I mean document in detail. And I also want to save all of the transcripts and things that I have that are outside of the course. If I'm talking with someone else that's related to the content or in the industry or about the topic, capture that material. Save the transcripts, of course, with permission, but keep that outline and all the notes that you have and things that you do on a mind map, hang on to that. So again, it's not just about the finished course. And keep the original unedited footage. I know when I create courses, especially when they're live, it may take me 3 or 4 versions. Unfortunately, and I maybe get halfway through one or 2/3 and then I make a huge mistake and I go, oh crap, I better redo it. Save the raw ones. Save the ones you don't use. Just try and save those ones and hang on to them. So why are you saying that, James? And why, what's kind of the next step with that? Well, I think the thing that comes after that is this chunking up and chunking down of the material that we actually create. So I think we should break down any process that we do into small, clear chunks or steps. So if you are doing a video, and this is something I'm working on as hard as I can, is when I'm creating content, I think having small chunks that answer specific questions and keeping those small chunks as modular as possible, it allows for or makes your content more AI ready. And again, it should be, or if you can in a process, and I'm talking about, if you have a process with 5 steps, take a look at each individual steps and say, what are the 10 steps in that one step? So think of it as mini and micro content as opposed to course content. And get as detailed as you can about what you're doing while you're doing it. And I'm thinking about, I do it this way because, or I've tried it this way and this would happen, or these are the 4 options that my clients take, or when I tried doing this, I found this. So include as many examples of what it is that you're doing, whether you've done it for yourself or you're doing with clients, or you've tested it or play around with it. And the other thing is don't be afraid to screw up. A couple of videos that I've done, I did the last one, I had a live call in the middle of the recording. Do I kind of quit the recording while I'm doing it just because there was a video there and it's, not professional? No, I think you should just hang on to it and don't be hung up with the mistakes that happen. And also, I want to document all of the individual problems and things that people run into who are actually taking the courses. One of the kind of prompts that I always talk about and using is that one 10, 25, and about asking questions or what are the key challenges and questions I have. So I create those using ChatGPT with some prompts, but what are the actual questions and challenges real people have? I want to document those as much as possible, keep them organized so that I know exactly what's going on. So if you're kind of playing around with that, I'm capturing all of this, what's kind of the next piece of that? Well, I think we have to make sure that we have a way of structuring it, right? So if I'm capturing it, how am I going to put it together or organize it so that it is in a modular one and I understand where it is? So when you get into all the tools like Notion and the one I'm using, project management tools and standard operating procedures, I think this is going to become really, really important in the next year to two, half year to year as stuff goes on. So structure content in modules or chunks, not in big courses. So I think a lot of it is going to be mix and match. And try and create it in a clear, consistent way. I know personally I struggle with this. A lot of times it's like I do one course one way, and then the next course I kind of reorganize it a little bit differently, or I use different names or titles, that kind of thing. And I don't have a way to document what I'm doing while I'm doing. These are the things that are going to be important as we get to this AI agent kind of space. And also keeping versions of what we do while we do it. I know the things that I did 6 months ago with prompts are completely different than the way I prompt now, but I have that asset of all the old prompts and the old things that I've done. Just because it's older, don't get rid of it. Just be able to version what it is that you're doing as you're actually doing it and explaining things. So that digital exhaust, capturing it, I think putting together a way to hang on to it is kind of going to be important. And here's the other piece that comes into this, and I see this happening on YouTube already, and even with the courses. And what am I talking about? Don't over edit or over produce the course content that you create. Things are happening so quickly now that people are looking for smaller chunks of information to answer smaller questions and are not as concerned about whether it's a professional video edit. And I don't want to, harsh out on anyone who's video editors. Obviously, there's content that needs to be produced and produced in a particular way for what it is that you're trying to do. I'm talking about educational content and how-to content and processes. I personally don't edit anything. I do zero edit, live edits with the little Stream Deck and stuff that I've shown. I don't put tips and tails anymore in anything. It's about creating valuable content about a particular topic and supporting categories about that topic. And I think that's going to be even more important about when or as we're producing it now, that it isn't edited or highly edited. And we want to keep all that raw recorded material. I have a network access server here and at home where my office and my little studio is. That particular piece has terabytes of information now, which are just raw files. So whenever I do something, I just put it and make sure it's in network storage, and whether you do Google Drive or something like that, but it's raw material that is always there. And I try and do my best with maps is to make sure that I have mind maps. I've got hundreds of mind maps that are all about the steps and the processes that are all interconnected. So I try and document that, why I put them together, which ones are connected to which one. And I also have and try to get as much feedback as I can from students. And that can be stuff that happens on YouTube where there's comments, messages that I get on any of the social media platforms. If people message me, stuff that happens in the training site, my privately branded campus. But I want to, have all those questions and feedback that I get. And I want to keep track of what are the explanations or what is the easiest way or most simple way to put this together so people understand it. That's what I'm doing to future-proof what happens going forward. Now, why is this important of, making sure that we keep on creating good content, that we try and make it AI ready, small and modular, that we start organizing or storing it in a special place, and then also, having a documentation of all of these things put together. These are the kind of key points that I think are going to happen with all of the AI agents and why this kind of fits together. if there's all of this content that is our content that we're capturing and we're creating, that is the thing that these AI agents are going to work on, is our content. And if it's our content, not generic content that just we got from a prompt, but it's all of our content that is raw video, that's audio, that's documentation, that's PDFs, that's text. That context that we create as content creators, the agents or the bots that are AI agents, whatever you want to call them, we can have them working on our content. And the better that we collect it and organize it, the better that these AI agents are going to be able to handle it. So we focus on creating and capturing content, not on putting it together or making it all fancy. We just want to capture it. The reason is because all of this content, if you have an agent that looks at 10 of your videos and can pull out the important stuff and put it into podcast, text documents, videos, those things we don't have to worry about anymore. And if it's working on our content and the stuff that we've captured, we're going to be in a much better place as if we're trying to use a prompt to get some content created from outside of who we are and how we teach things. That's the part that is going to keep us relevant and important, irrespective of how good the tools get. So anything that we do can be enhanced by AI later. We don't have to worry necessarily about getting it all dressed up and putting it together. And I'm even talking about the methodology of how it gets put together. If we're in a position where we can come and teach or bring the way that we teach things in that teaching methodologies, and that's a whole other video, but if we're able to put that together and allow the AI agents to use our skill and our approach on our content, that's something that can't be replaced. So if you're creating content over the next year, think about flexibility, not about here's my course on something that's popular today, that's a niche that I'm going to earn a whole bunch of money on from this one course. If you want to create course content, that's fine. Please keep doing it, but do all of this other stuff in the background or start creating the content that you are now, whether it's on YouTube and or any of the other kind of places that you sell educational content. Start thinking about this bigger picture and what's going to happen. And don't be afraid to not wait. When I'm doing this stuff personally, it's like you get drawn away. It's like you go and say, wow, I got 5 new tools for doing some part of a repetitive task that I'm doing now with prompts, or I've got a brand new tool from Google that creates videos from a paragraph, or if I upload a text document to the up to Notebook LM, it'll give me a podcast. So there's new things happening all the time. And if I'm talking about, what we're talking about right now and cracking all the content, do I just wait for AI agents? No, don't do that. Keep on working hard and putting all of your work into creating the content that's you moving forward. So these are the things that I'm kind of thinking in the back of my mind. And the reason that this is important for me anyway, as a content creator, is it's still me that's putting all of this content together. And the way that I instruct with stuff, the philosophy I have about how it gets presented, how I decide I want to have people who are learning involved or engaged with it, how I know that people actually are learning stuff like that, how do I solve problems that I can teach to other people, what is my specific approach to it? And if it's running on my information that I've captured, those are things I don't think can be replaced. AI and all these AI agents are going to get rid of some of the stuff that maybe we don't like to do and allow you and I to focus on basically creating super good content about our experiences and the stuff that we know and love to share. Think about that. If you don't believe it, that's fine. This is where I'm going. Do your research and just keep it in the back of your mind the next time you're creating a course or a YouTube video. How does this fit into the big picture, and how am I going to use it 6 months from now when there are additional agents and tools that are going to do all bunch of things that we're basically going to be giving away as it steals those particular tasks that maybe you want stolen anyway. This is James speaking, trainingsites.io. Please go to the site, campus, join up. I'd love to see you. Take care, expect the best, and if you haven't liked and subscribed to the channel, please do that. and all sorts of great stuff to help you start, build, and grow. Take care. Expect the best.